What's up, guys? It's Dominique, aka that therapist, lead clinician, and CEO for a group practice known as Yellowbird Counseling. For those of you that don't know, we service Alabama, Florida now, Mississippi now, Tennessee now, and Louisiana now, and soon to come, Georgia. We will be servicing, but primarily we serve the citizens and residents of Alabama. But what does this mean to you? Well, if you need our services, of course, go to yellowbirdcounseling.com and we can set you up. But also, we are extremely dedicated to our effort to break the stigma surrounding mental health and mental illness. So what we do is every Thursday evening, we come on live, we discuss different topics that the general public can relate to, and tie it back to how we could all use therapy. So basically, if you're a human and you have thoughts in your head and you live in a world that you can't control, you need a therapist, because whether you have a mental illness or not, things still impact you. I hate how my shirts be crooked. I be sitting up here, my shirts be crooked. But anyways, so yeah. So we talk about general things that you all can relate to so that we can tie back to how we all need a therapist. And of course, popular culture is always going to be the thing that the majority of us can relate to and know about. So why not? This month we've been talking about different aspects of Kim and Kanye's divorce. So, and how it affects them individually, or mental health perspectives on, we did Kim last week, and then talked about, the children's involvement, or Northwest involvement in social media and how it can affect children's mental health. So we did those. But this week we're going to talk about Kanye. It just so happened that Will Smith had a little episode as well at the Oscars. So I was like, well, they're both celebrity men, so let's tie them together. Let's talk about it. Let's open forum it. So yes, while majority of the conversation is geared toward Kanye, because that's the way it was planned, I'm going to be covering. I want to know what your thoughts are about the mental health perspective as it relates to Will Smith as well, because, that was crazy. Y'all saw that? That was crazy. I was like, woo! He like, woo! And it was like Chris Rock was like, he came back like, I was like, was that real? Because he just kind of came back kind of fast. Like, yes, his head did. But anyway, I'm one of them people that watch a video over and over again to see what I can see. I was like, was this real? But this man really maintained his stance as he got really and then you can tell it was intense because his arm came all the way across. So it was a lot going on. So we're going to discuss that. We're also going to discuss Kanye and his journey with bipolar disorder, because that is a very, very real, and as a celebrity could be a very difficult, really for anybody, but as it relates to the things that bipolar disorder seemingly can do for a person in a positive way, it is a diagnosis that is hard to for one to take medicine for. But for us in the mental health and health wellness community and practitioners, but we know that bipolar disorder, if you're diagnosed with that, that's something that you're going to have, and be managing probably for the rest of your life. So it's difficult if aspects of your mental illness actually are a benefit to you. So we'll get into that. But so if you know, not tonight, but if you want to know what I'm saying, you want to get on our newsletter before April, because you'll know when we do our $100 Cash App giveaway. So you want to know when we do that, you want to go to yellowbirdcounseling.com or Instagram, click on the link in the bio. Facebook, y'all can Go to yellowbirdcounseling.com. It is Googleable. It's Googleable. Or you can go to Yellowbird Counseling on Facebook and get connected with us there. But we have a community text link, so you can know that way when we do our $100 Cash App giveaways. It'll also be in our newsletters along with any other events and offers that we're doing. So if you want, we just changed the name. So it's no longer the swag shop for those of y'all that have been around. It is YBC, the YBC brand for our mental health apparel that we have. As you see, I've got one of our designs on tonight. But yes, the YBC brand, it may still be under swag shop because we are undergoing some website renovations, but it will, moving forward, be known as YBC, the YBC brand. Okay, so there's a few little things that you may want to know about to get yourself connected to some goodies, a little cash. But let's get started. So I'm gonna go on ahead, talk about Kanye and just kind of discuss his journey with mental illness. It was not something that was easy for him to accept, as it isn't for most people, as it was not for myself and probably many of you out here watching. So that being said, please share this live. Please share this live because there is someone on your timeline who can relate to this, who may need to hear that, one, they're not alone, two, that what they're experiencing, they may not have a name for it. And they may need to get it checked out because, especially with bipolar disorder, it can be, something's going on, but you may not know what, especially if you're not abreast to that. I did an entire series on the different types of bipolar disorder. Golly, that was like, before the pandemic, I know. So I probably need to do it again. It was probably like 2019 when I did that. It wasn't in 2020. I know it was way far back. So, but anyways, we did do a series on the different types. So I'll briefly discuss them tonight, but I won't go into a huge amount of detail because I did already do it, and I'll probably do it again in the future. All right. But as far as Kanye is concerned, he was actually diagnosed with, and I told you I was going to check because I'll just keep moving forward, but I needed to know if it was a formal diagnosis or if it was a term just being thrown around, because as we will discuss, Kanye has said that he's even been guilty of doing that himself. When people are having an off day or maybe they do something rude, we really do throw the term bipolar around, like, oh, you're bipolar. I'm like, actually, whenever I hear people say that, I'm like, actually, the way you're using it is not right. You don't want to just be throwing that around because it's a very serious diagnosis that people actually have to deal with. And then when you just kind of throw the term around, it really diminishes the amount of effort that goes into people that really have to manage an actual DSM-5 diagnosis of bipolar disorder. So it's a term that gets thrown around a lot. So that's why I just wanted to see for myself that he had been formally diagnosed. And yes, he has. In 2016, he was formally diagnosed with bipolar disorder. I'm assuming that it was based on just what I know of his behavior when he's possibly having a manic episode. I'm real careful because I don't like to diagnose people that I have not seen personally, that I'm not your therapist. You will not get a diagnosis from me. I don't care who you are. You will not get a diagnosis. People always walk up to me talking about some damn, what's my diagnosis? I don't know. I am not your therapist. I don't know. I do not go around, and people swear we go around diagnosing folks all day. We don't want to get in that kind of messy situation. So, I can tell you behaviorally, like what behaviors you might be doing that aren't healthy, but as to why you're doing those behaviors, can't speak on it. because I don't know you like that. If you're not my client that I see, I don't know you like that. So I had to get it. So let's see. He was diagnosed in 2016, but per Kim, Kanye had a really hard time accepting, and he said it himself too in an interview in 2018. But also he had a really hard time accepting that was wrong with what that bipolar disorder was actually what was going on with him. He would just tell people it was sleep deprivation per Kim. Okay. Now, yes, sleep deprivation was very much involved, I'm sure, because one symptom of bipolar disorder is you don't feel as though you need that much sleep. You feel like you can just kind of go and go and go and go and go and go and clean and create and do all these superhuman things, because that's the manic episode. When you're in a manic episode, you feel like you're on top of the world. You can do anything. So of course, I've had a lot of clients say, it'd be hard for me to take my medicine sometimes because I like being in a manic state because I get things done. I feel super focused. I can make goals. Like, yes, but it's all impulse driven and maybe not done in the healthiest of ways. So there are things that we use to, as far as treatment measures that we use to see if these are actual real things that you need to be taking on, and when is an appropriate time to do that if you are someone dealing with bipolar disorder. But you can see for someone like Kanye, who's super duper duper creative, like taking medication, that's always the thing with artists, taking medication, because it really just kind of, and I've had personal experience with it. Once I started taking my antidepressant, I really like the level of emotion. Like, and I still do feel a lot. Like I feel things a lot. But once I started taking my antidepressant, it was like you can't access. It's harder to access your creative brain. It's just a little harder. So a lot of singers, songwriters, rappers, painters, people that make their living off of their creativity, but their creativity is at its best when they are ill. That's a hard position to be in. And that was a note that also per Kim, she said, just changed who he was. Like, he was totally opposed, like taking medication wasn't an option for him. But unfortunately, with bipolar disorder, something you gotta take medication for. You do, in order to help you stabilize. But then it's like, at what expense? Because you do run the risk of like your creative mind just kind of being blanded out, just kind of wiped out. So I get it. I feel him on that. But at that point, it's like, this is life or death, because a manic episode or a depressive episode can be very dangerous for you or people around you. So, and detrimental. So at that point, you got to kind of, it's like a real catch-22 situation there. So it's like, yes, this is a benefit, but it's also not a benefit both ways. You know what I'm saying? So he had a hard time accepting it, was not interested in taking medications at all. It has even made reference to how therapy is like not what he's going to do. So as you can probably guess, his symptoms continue. And he has episodes when he has them. But in 2018, again, he shared that he has been formally diagnosed with bipolar disorder. And what I was going to say earlier is I'm not sure if it's bipolar 1 or 2, but based on what I know about his behavior, I would guess, okay? I would guess it's bipolar 1, okay? I would guess, but I don't know. I'm not his therapist, not his psychiatrist, not his physician. I'm not none of that. So they just generally said bipolar disorder, but there are different types. So with bipolar 1, that's where you have a hypermanic episode, okay? and you don't necessarily have to have a depressive episode, but the manic episode lasts for at least 7 days. So if you're having a 7-day spurt of like not needing sleep, on top of the world, making all these plans, taking on all these new responsibilities and ventures, maybe spending erratically, having a lot of impulsive sexual behaviors, gambling behaviors, impulsive shopping, irritable, and I'll discuss some of the other things. I'm just giving a general overview. 7 days of the symptoms that we'll discuss, then it's possible that you're having a manic episode. Where did that fly come from? So just based on, again, how Kanye presented, even in his documentary at certain points, and based on how he presented at that South Carolina political rally, and then just based on some other things he said here and there, and how he has presented it, could possibly be bipolar 1. Okay. Then we have bipolar 2, which is you're experiencing more depression and maybe partial mania. So that's characterized by similar symptoms, but they are not quite as severe. So with bipolar 1, the symptoms are so severe you have to be hospitalized, or they last for 7 days. Bipolar 2, they're severe. You may not have to be hospitalized, but it may be debilitating. You may not be able to focus or do what you need to do, making sound decisions. So, and it's, you're experiencing more depression and not necessarily full mania. Okay. Then, of course, there's cyclothymia, rapid cycling, which cyclothymia is, that is at least maybe like a 2-year span of you depressed, manic, for like 2 consistent years, with maybe short periods of being like neutral, but most of the time you're up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. And I cannot even imagine what that must be like. You know what I'm saying? I can empathize with it as far as my clients go and help them cope through that. And from a place of like, golly, this is a real thing I need to be sure that I'm helping you with. But like, to be constantly up and down, I know how it is when you're having like, for women that experience PMDD, it's kind of like that. So those of you PMDD that don't know, is premenstrual dysphoric disorder, which people also throw around. Oh, you just may be PMSing. No, premenstrual dysphoric disorder is also a type of depression that usually presents similar symptoms of depression, and possibly could be some erratic behaviors that you may see in bipolar disorder, but only around a woman's menses. Okay, so usually like 5 days or so prior to menses, and maybe a few days after menses. For me, it's usually that after like that 3 days after menses. So again, my doctor was able to adjust my medication accordingly to where I could take more during that time and then go back down to the regular maintenance dose. But for women that experience PMDD, it's kind of like that. I could not imagine. That's what I'm saying. I could not imagine being like that, because when it hits, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, it's the most uncomfortable thing, like, because I know I'm like, okay, I can't make any decisions. I can't do anything. I don't need to really get in any type of like deep conversations with folks, because things could go left. And then once I come out of it, it's like, dang, I know. So it's really debilitating. So I can't imagine doing it for longer than 3 days, which if you're dealing with bipolar disorder is most definitely probably longer than 3 days. And if it's not longer than 3 days, it's super severe in order for you to be diagnosed as bipolar. So all that to say that Kanye West is not easy. Definitely it's not easy for him managing that. And my heart really does go out to him because I understand, like, it's hard to make the decision to treat something that is a blessing and a curse, which for him, that's most definitely what bipolar disorder is. His manic episodes, he probably has a lot of creativity during those, and just a lot of like really great ideas that he can implement that would make a lot of money that he may not have otherwise had. But it comes with a cost. That's the only thing. It really comes with a cost. So what I try to get my clients to understand is it worth the cost? Is it worth your relationships? Is it worth your life, your safety, the safety of those around you? Because when you're in a manic episode, it's whatever goes. It really is whatever goes. And you cannot control it. You cannot like will yourself out of it. So is it worth that? Or at least therapy. Even if you don't want to take medication, at least therapy. You should definitely be taking medication because it could get bad. But at least talking to somebody and helping them, letting therapists help you manage your symptoms through that, and discuss strategies with you for things that are appropriate for you. So like, what I might do with my clients may not work for Kanye because, again, his creativity is a large part of how he makes his money. So it would have to be a whole different approach with him, a whole different treatment plan, even though he's dealing with the same disorder. So, again, it's something that people throw around, but I hope that you can tell in just a short stint of time that I've been talking about it so far, this is not a term you want to throw around. It's a very serious diagnosis, and people really do struggle with it, and it really does impact people's lives very seriously. So to just be like, girl, you must be bipolar, or he bipolar, or she bipolar. Stop doing it. Stop doing it. Please stop doing that. So what are some other things that can happen in a manic episode? You have racing thoughts, which, oh my gosh, racing thoughts are not fun at all. Inability to sleep, sometimes paranoia, and sometimes psychosis. So psychosis, for those of you that don't know, is if you're experiencing delusions or hallucinations, audio, visual, olfactory, tactile. There are so many different hallucinations that a person could be experiencing. And intrusive thoughts are already just uncomfortable enough. So to have racing thoughts or just being really irritable, your speech is really rapid, like talking real fast, very talkative. Those are some symptoms that are indicators that a person may be experiencing a manic episode. Very like your distractibility. Labile, meaning that you're up and down, up and down, up and down. Like you can be laughing one moment, crying the next. Impulsive, very impulsive. Grandiose thoughts or goal-directed, really grandiose goal directions, like for instance, if I'm like, I'm going to wake up tomorrow and I'm going to make $1 billion tomorrow, and this is what I'm going to do, and I actively go toward, like, the likelihood of me making $1 billion tomorrow is probably real slim, super slim. Maybe not for Kanye, but for someone who's not a billionaire or trillionaire or whatever, to wake up and say, I'm just going to go out and make $1 billion today, and really, like, I'm going to quit my job Like this, not just I'm going to make $1 billion, but I'm going to quit my job right now. So you call, I'm not coming into work today. I'm going to make $1 billion. Like that's what kind of stuff, like that's the grandiose things that could, thoughts or ideas that could occur in a manic episode. Let's see. Your mood, again, is very expansive. Your psychomotor agitation. So your movement is real agitated. And yeah, there's a long list, but yeah, so those are some symptoms. So if you know somebody that could possibly be experiencing that, have them give us a call. Or if you yourself have experienced that, have them give us a call. We definitely can help you. I have some very high functioning, well adjusted to life individuals that experience bipolar disorder, and you wouldn't even know it. You, like, from when they started with me to now, like, you wouldn't even, no one would be able to tell unless they told them, you know? So yeah. So, of course, again, but Kanye is very much responsible for making sure he gets the help he needs to offset things such as a divorce. Like, I don't know if that's why Kim wanted to divorce him, because, again, just in 2016, which I'm not saying she can't accept it and it also wear on her. That's not what I'm saying. She can accept that he has a mental illness. She can accept how he that his reluctancy towards treatment, but that does not mean it does not wear on her, and it does not cause, cause issues in the family. So again, you have a choice to make. Do you want to do treatment, or do you want to continue on putting your relationships in jeopardy? Because that will happen, because we're all human and we all have a breaking point. There's only so much any of us can take. Okay. So if the behavior is that erratic and that unsafe and that unpredictable, and a person doesn't want to get help, at that point, it's like, I have to walk away. You know what I'm saying? So it just is what it is. And that may sound harsh, but I'm telling you, like, just because a person has a mental illness does not mean you should be subjected to the backlash of that, or the effects of it. That person they have a decision to make. Do they want to do treatment to help their self get better, or do they not? Those are their options. And I'm telling you, as somebody who struggles with depression and anxiety, like, if I chose not to seek treatment, I would not be able to work. Like, my board tells me, if you're impaired, you can't work. So if I'm working impaired, I could get in a lot of trouble. So it's like, either I'm going to take the medicine, go to therapy so I can work, or I'm not and I can't work. Like, I wouldn't even let myself see clients like that. If I feel at all, what did I just say the word was? Y'all, I be doing these lives right when I get out of sessions. And so I be trying to, like, sometimes my brain is just, not good. So, disabled, whatever. Okay. If I was disabled or incapacitated or whatever due to a depressive episode or anxiety attack or panic attack, I'm not going to work with my clients. That has not happened to me since I have been, like, I haven't had a mental health, like, I haven't had to be off for mental health reasons. Thank goodness. But if something flared up, I definitely would take off and reschedule my clients, because I don't want to subject them to, like, their session is about them. That's why you're not supposed to work impaired, because their session is about them. It's not about me. I have my own therapist for my sessions to be about. Okay. And my clients are not my therapists. They do not pay me to, they don't pay me to be my support. They pay me to be their support, and I'm happy to do it. And I want to do it in the best form of myself possible. So that's why every day I take my medicine, go to my therapies consistently. Okay, consistently. And I still go to my therapist weekly, and I'm pretty mentally stable. But I still go weekly. Because you just never know what the future may hold. And just as an entrepreneur business owner, I need to be sure I'm on top of my self-care in order for my business to run effectively. So anyway, I say all that to say, Kanye has a choice to make as far as is concerned with treatment in order for him to move forward in, relationships. And I don't know if that's going to make Kim change her mind or not. I don't even know if that's the reason that they're even getting a divorce, but there's that. Now, if y'all have questions, please ask them. If you have any questions, please put it in the comments, and I am happy to answer those questions for you to the best of my ability. All right. I will definitely do that. I don't know everything, but I know some things. Okay. And I've been practicing for 10 years, so I know a lot of some things. I know, and I definitely know about bipolar disorder as somebody who has treated it, somebody who has studied it. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. So let's talk about Will, though. I do want to talk about him and what happened at the Oscars. I mean, so I watched it myself. I watched what happened before. I watched after the camera stopped rolling. I understand his frustration, but I don't know, more recently here, I don't know, within the past couple of years, Will's stability has been, mental stability has been questionable. And apparently he has mentioned having some mental illness, struggles with his mental health. That's the way it was phrased. There was a one-time occurrence where he did have suicidal ideation, which I could shoot. If I was a celebrity, I probably would have suicidal ideation at one point or another too. Because I can't even imagine what they go through. That's a lot of stress on a person. You have so many expectations from different people. You can't really be yourself. You almost always have to be in character. And that's a lot. Sometimes I'm sure they just want to have a normal life, like a chill, low-key life. So, and you have to deal with people's critiques of you all the time, and that could get to a person. So I'm sure he has had at least one occurrence, as he has stated, of suicidal ideation. But as it relates to what happened at the Oscars, it's not saying he was not right for being mad. He had a right to his emotions. He wanted his wife to be protected. You know what I'm saying? Of course, alopecia is an actual real medical condition. So, and Jada's face did not look happy when Chris Rock made that joke. She looked real disgusted. That wasn't a funny joke. So no, I totally agree with that. Who is this trying to hey, okay. Somebody had requested to join. I don't think they're on. I was like, oh, okay. Well, come on then. Come on, you can come on. But I don't know. It was just a real unstable presentation of that. He could have definitely pulled him off to the side, and spoke his piece. At the very least, he did not have to slap that man across his face like that. He could have still said, keep my wife's name out your mouth. He could have still did all that. I get that. I feel that. I understand. Not saying that that's the most proper presentation, but I get that, words for word. But he walked up on stage, slapped this man Like, nobody ever deserves to be hit. I don't care, unless you are defending yourself. If someone is hitting you and you need to defend yourself, that's something different. But this man walked up on and slapped him. So that, the fact that he even, and then he was very tearful afterward for whatever reason. He said he wasn't tearful because of that. He was tearful for other reasons when he did his award speech. And he was a protector, and he could very well, hey, listen, nothing wrong with him being a protector, feeling and fulfilling the obligation to protect his family. That's fine, but you got to do that in a healthy way. You have to do that in a healthy, well-adjusted way. And so walking up on stage, slapping somebody across their face, and then he went right back and sat down. It was just like, so we could have gone without you doing that. But again, I just seeing his face, and the recent times that I've seen Will Smith and just being tearful, he seems to have some things going on with him. I don't know. Y'all let me know what your thoughts are. I don't at all think his anger was wrong. I just think the way that he expressed it was wrong. But yeah, no, because I mean, like, that was just like stupid, immature joke. You don't make fun of somebody for something, especially for something that they can't help. Like, even though, listen, Jada is still fine. She could be bald head. She could have a head of hair. She could have braided to the back, and she'll still be fine. But, you know, that doesn't mean that that's how she necessarily feels about herself. So making a joke about something she can't help that affects her appearance was like a low blow. So, but again, Will's anger, justifiable. The actions that follow, maybe no. And maybe an indicator that there could be some mental instability going on there that he might want to get attended to. Okay, he might want to get attended to if he's not already in therapy, or if he has been in therapy, you might want to find a different therapist. I don't know, just saying. I feel him, but we don't want him to put his life in jeopardy or someone else's life. And you just never, nobody ever, you should never put your hands on someone. Again, unless you're in some sort of self-defensive situation. But other than that, we don't need to be putting our hands on each other. Like, we don't need to be touching people without their permission. So there's that. So if we're adults still touching people without permission, we need to see a therapist. Okay? Point blank, period. I said what I said. So, do y'all have any questions, comments, concerns? Questions, comments, concerns, questions. If you don't, that's cool. But I did want to weigh in on it. I wanted to weigh in on the Will Smith thing. I've seen a lot of social media memes and things of that nature, which is fine. But I wanted to just weigh in on mental health perspective. It definitely addressed Kanye and what is going on as it relates to his bipolar disorder diagnosis, and what does that really mean, and things for people to consider if they themselves know somebody who could be experiencing mental illness or bipolar disorder, or they themselves are. So definitely also do remember, if you want the opportunity to win our $100 Cash App giveaways, you want to go to yellowbirdcounseling.com and subscribe to our newsletter. That way, you'll know when we give the money out, and you'll know what to do in order to be eligible to win the money. Okay? If you want to win some money, go to yellowbirdcounseling.com. Yellowbirdcounseling. I have to say it like that because there is a yellow brick counseling, but yellowbirdcounseling.com. Okay. Subscribe to the newsletter, and then you can find out anything you want to know there. So, like, if you're like, "Ooh, I really love that shirt," go on to it's now the Swag Shop, but soon to be the YBC brand. All right. and get you one. We got them in long sleeve, short sleeve, different colors. And you can look at some of the other apparel options we have. But I really, really enjoy y'all. I appreciate y'all's support. And we will definitely see you next week.